Hi everyone, it's Angela from Shin, and today I'm going to show you 3 easy ways to make your own seaweed fertilizer. Now, if you're like me, I'm always running out of compost and I just can't make enough compost fast enough. So I'm always looking for ways to add more nutrients to my container garden and at my community garden. And I use everything from, just straight up coffee grounds, eggshells, wood ash, and I do all kinds of composting. I do worm composting, cold composting, and I started doing bokashi composting, which is fantastic. And I'm going to do a video on how to do bokashi composting very soon. So another way to add nutrients to your garden is to use seaweed. And if you go to any plant nursery or garden supply store or online, you're going to see there are a lot of liquid seaweed fertilizers that you can buy. But you know what? It's so easy to make your own. And I'm very fortunate that I live very close to the beach. So I'm going to just head down there and collect my own seaweed. Now, before you guys do this, make sure you check your local regulations because there may be some restrictions. It may be illegal in some beaches. Now, in my local beach, I can collect my own seaweed and I can collect up to 10 pounds. So now the reason why seaweed is fantastic for your garden is because it's full of minerals. And if you think about the ecosystem, you have a soil that's full of minerals and nutrients that washes down the rivers into the ocean, and the seaweed and the kelp just absorb all those nutrients. And so the seaweed, it really is full of minerals in particular. And so it's a great way to add nutrients to your garden. So let's head over to the beach. When I'm collecting seaweed, I want to make sure I don't do anything that hurts the ecosystem. So I only collect seaweed that's dead. If the seaweed still looks alive and healthy, or if it's still attached to any rocks, then I just leave it alone. And I only collect as much seaweed as I need. A standard 5-gallon bucket here. And some of these huge pieces of seaweed I'm going to chop up with some pruning shears just to make it easier to loosen up the debris. And as you can see, there are lots of little bits of styrofoam debris that I want to wash off. I definitely don't want that in my compost. Before you do anything with the seaweed, you want to make sure you wash off all of the salt. So I'm going to let this soak in the water for about 20 minutes and drain out the water and fill it up again and let it soak for another 20 minutes. Now, the first method I'm going to show you is how to make seaweed tea. And all you're going to do is let the seaweed soak in the water for 2 to 4 weeks. And the water is going to extract all of those nutrients, and then you're going to scoop out the water and dilute it at least 1 to 20 and use that diluted tea to water your garden. Now, this is a very easy way, but it's very stinky. So while I personally don't care about the smell, I do live in a building with a lot of neighbors, and I personally don't use this method now, but hopefully someday when we buy a house and we have more space, I'm definitely going to use this method because it's just so easy. The second method is just as easy. After washing your seaweed, you're simply going to chop and drop the seaweed and put it on top of your soil. And you can also bury the seaweed underneath the soil if you're starting a new container and you don't have any plants in it yet. Now, this is going to take quite a bit of time for the seaweed to gradually break down, so the nutrients are not going to be available right away. So if your plants need nutrients right away, then I recommend using method number 3. In method number 3, we're going to make a seaweed smoothie. Now you want to take your seaweed, chop it into smaller pieces, add it to a blender and add some water, and then you're going to blend it up. And it really is that easy. Now you want to take your smoothie and dilute it. And you don't have to dilute it in as much as the seaweed tea, but you want your final mixture to be very thin and runny. And you're going to use this mixture to water your plants directly. So that's it for the video, and wasn't that so easy? I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys try this out for yourselves, and stay tuned because I have so many ideas for different videos to do. So I hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe.